got disconnected.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're here for the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, June 8th, 2021, and we're now called to order. I'm going to call the roll, and if you'll respond affirmative if you're present. Alderman Peterson is excused. Alderman Schroer.
Here?
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill.
Here.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Here.
Alderman Martin.
Here.
Alderman McClendon.
Here.
Alderman Speedy.
Here.
Okay, thank you. We'll start now with the invocation, then I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Alderman Barnhill, please.
Would you bow, please? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in prayer. Thank you for this great nation that we live in, for all the many blessings that we have as Americans. We give you thanks. For all the freedoms that we have, we give you thanks. We ask that you be with those individuals who are responsible for protecting our freedoms, whether they be soldiers, military, far from home, whether they be first responders here locally. We ask your blessings upon them and their families. We also ask your blessings upon each of us as aldermen. Give us spiritual wisdom as guidance as we make decisions that affect the city of Franklin. This prayer we offer in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Next on the agenda is an opportunity for citizens to make comments on items that are not on the agenda. I have no speaker cards for that tonight, so we'll continue on. And remind people that during public hearings, people that are unable to attend are able to submit comments to the city recorder, actually to the recorder at franklintn.gov, and those will be entered into the record. Tonight, we have no minutes, is that my understanding?
Correct.
To approve. So we'll move on to item on recognitions. And I'm going to call Dr. Smith. And I just might say that we still mourn the loss of Alderman Pearl Bransford, and we remember the great contributions that she made to our community to make it better. And as part of that recognition, we're here tonight to present a check for a scholarship at Columbia State. So I'd like to recognize Mindy Tate now to make a few comments.
When Mayor Moore called me regarding Pearl's untimely death, and we were so sad, and we thought, what can we do? And often that's something different that Franklin Tomorrow can respond to, whether it's a Christmas tree sometimes, or something that is going to have another thing that's going to have a lasting impact, and that is establishing a scholarship at Columbia State Community College here in Franklin in honor of Pearl Bransford. And Pearl Bransford, we are so lucky, was a great supporter of Franklin Tomorrow, but she was a great supporter of our town, but she probably loved Columbia State as much as she loved just about anything. Sorry about that, Jen, but you know, that's true. She did. And so we are happy tonight to have a great check to present to the Columbia State Community Foundation in honor to establish the Pearl Bransford Scholarship at Columbia State for those in the health sciences. And the mayor, you can show him the number if you want.
I'll show the board first.
$50,000.
You know, I want to thank Franklin Tomorrow, Mayor Moore, and everyone who has contributed to this this fund, because it will go to help others. But mostly I want to thank Pearl Bransford. Pearl was a member of our foundation, and she loved Columbia State dearly. She was one of the first people I met in Franklin many years ago when I came. And I can't remember now, probably Mary Morris told me I need to meet Pearl Bransford. And I went to a place where she worked, and she came out, and this beautiful voice and vivacious individual was there. And it always was. And from that day forward, Pearl and I got to know each other and had a wonderful relationship. But I respected her so much because Pearl, to me, there were three words I used to think about her. One is that she was so kind. There was a kindness about her, and there was a love for other folks that she always had. She always had a smile, no matter what was going on. It made you feel good, no matter what was going on in your life. And she was always about giving. She had a heart of giving. And the gift that is being given through this scholarship, to me, is honoring her legacy. And as I thought about that, it's not just honoring her legacy, but it's beginning the legacy of another. And I think that is what is so wonderful about the tribute that's being paid to her, because it's paying to what she believed in. It's giving to what she believed in. And so thank you all who have made this possible. We greatly appreciate it. And to her family, thank you for sharing Pearl with us. We do appreciate it very much.
We're going to go get a picture. Okay. This is one you take a picture of Next is an opportunity for a proclamation concerning intellectual disabilities. And I'm going to invite Elizabeth Graham Pistoli to come up with me. And you'll understand, you'll understand in just a minute when she makes a comment why this is an important proclamation. Whereas an intellectual disability is defined as a disability characterized by significant limitations both in intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior as expressed in conceptual, social, and physical adaptive skills, and whereas people with intellectual disabilities cut across the lines of racial, ethnic, educational, social, and economic backgrounds, and whereas children and adults with intellectual disabilities are participating as full members of their communities in greater numbers, and important to continue to decrease the stigma surrounding intellectual disabilities and encourage those whom it affects. And whereas Franklin can be a healthier, happier place to be for every resident by increasing education surrounding intellectual disabilities and encouraging those who are struggling to seek help. Now, therefore, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, encourage our community to be at the forefront of our efforts to ensure people with intellectual disabilities are treated with dignity and respect, and urge our citizens to stand for those who are that we're speaking of. So,
All right.
we'll get a picture.
Oh,
after
we're doing
this.
it, okay.
You go ahead and make a
Whatever
quick
works. This is my first proclamation, so still getting into the swing of things. But my name's Elizabeth Pistol, and one thing I vowed to do this year when I won Miss Tennessee was be an advocate for my sister who was born with Down syndrome. A lot of people use the word retarded flippantly, especially the younger generations. And while it used to be a medical term, it now is just equivalated to being stupid, which is pretty much saying that people who have a disability medically are stupid. And so that's something that a lot of people don't understand. I did a whole speech about it, and I'm working on a TED Talk about it. And what they ended up saying was that most students around ages 13 to 17 were polled, around 3,000, I think, across the country, and 90% of them said that not only do they use it, but they didn't even think that it was a negative term. But it is degrading to my sister, and she does know that, and she is not by any means dumb or stupid, as they would refer it to. So that's something that I vow to bring awareness to as I go on throughout the year. And I'm really, really grateful that you were willing to help and that y'all are willing to support me in my efforts.
Thank you. That's a good point. All you can.
Awesome, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good
Oh,
seeing
do
you.
I get to keep this?
That's yours.
My sister will probably steal it from me and frame it.
Next is an opportunity to speak about a program that one of our employers has in Williamson County that assists people to advance their education. And as mayor, I get a lot of opportunities to visit ceremonies and ribbon cuttings and so on. This is one that touched my heart, and I thought it would be important to bring this to attention to the board. So I'm going to ask Johanna Madera to come up along with Jamon Daughtery. And Jamond is with the Good Food Company, just for information, and head of the Black Business Coalition. But Johanna Madera is originally from the Dominican Republic, and she came to the United States in 2016. And she received her high school diploma and her bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's in management and productivity in the Dominican Republic. However, those credentials and 15 years of banking experience did not transfer to our country. And whereas Johanna started working as a shift manager and then department leader at the Good Food Group's McDonald's restaurants and throughout McDonald's Archways to Opportunity program and its English Under the Arches program, she was able to begin her journey to complete her American high school education. And whereas Johanna's drive, dedication, determination, and willingness to go the extra mile, she earned a McDonald's scholarship and completed the online high school program of 36 semesters in less than 18 months, while balancing being a single mother of two and working full-time at McDonald's. So she received her diploma from the Career Online High School on April the 11th, 2021, nearly a month ahead of her schedule, and she graduated on May the 6th. So now therefore be it resolved that I, Dr. Ken Moore, and the City of Franklin deem it an honor and pleasure to extend our sincere congratulations and best wishes for your future, and also to highlight the Good Food Company and McDonald's for the programs that they offer to citizens to help improve their education and do good. You want your mom?
Do all the family in the middle?
Yeah, that's good. I'm telling you. Thanks for the Post-it notes.
Thank
want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you can be excused. We won't think any less of you.
So, well, great. No miscellaneous reports. We'll go to the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. Tonight, we're considering items number 23 through 32. So I'd consider a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Alderman Barnhill, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Alderman Peterson absent. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go on to item 5. This is a public hearing and consideration of Resolution 2021-70, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of 8 properties west of Lewisburg Pike and south of Goose Creek Bypass by the city of Franklin. Go ahead, Joey.
Thank you. Good evening. The plan of services outlines how infrastructure will need to be provided to serve the 8 properties requesting annexation, consisting of approximately 244 acres. The property is located within the City of Franklin water service area. In terms of reclaimed water, an approximately 2,000-foot extension would be needed to serve the property. Because of the distance, reclaimed water will not be required to be extended to the property. The properties are located within the Goose Creek Basin and the Hillsborough, Burwood, and Thompson Station Utility District service area. The owner of each property shall be required to extend the sanitary sewer mains and interceptors necessary to provide service to the properties. Access to the property shall be provided from Lewisburg Pike. As properties develop, road improvements and road extensions shall be required in accordance with Connect Franklin. A major collector roadway is designated to cross the property per the City of Franklin Major Thoroughfare Plan. No additional manpower or equipment will be necessary for either fire, police protection, or sanitation and environmental services. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2021-70. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody want to make a public comment on this? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 6, this is a public hearing. Consideration resolution 2021-71, a resolution to annex 8 properties west of Lewisburg Pike, south of Goose Creek Bypass, consisting of 244.08 acres located west of Lewisburg Pike, south of Goose Creek Bypass, and joining the city limits within the southern part of the Franklin urban growth boundary.
Thank you. The property being considered for annexation is contiguous to the city limits and is within the city's urban growth boundary. The property falls into the Goose Creek Drainage Basin. The Goose Creek Basin was identified as a short-term growth area in the 2018 growth study. The subject properties requesting annexation are within the Conservation Subdivision Design Concept as defined by Envision Franklin. It is the intention of the applicant to develop the property into single-family and attached residential lots. A rezoning and development plan for the subject property are also included on tonight's agenda. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2021-71. Thank you.
Does anyone want to speak to this body? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 7, this is a public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2021-08, an ordinance to zone 244.08 acres to Plan PD 2.09 District Scenic Carter Overlay District Hillside Hillcrest Overlay District for property located west of Lewisburg Pike, south of Goose Creek Bypass, Southville PUD subdivision.
Thank you. Envision Franklin places the property into the Conservation Subdivision Design Concept, which states new development should preserve a minimum of 50% open space, strategically targeted toward scenic vistas, greenways, pastures, trails, woodlands, or other uses that maintain scenic character. Envision Franklin further states that architectural sensitivity for new development should be observed. The applicant is proposing 512 total dwelling units through a variety of single-family duplex and multiplex building types for a density of 2.09 dwelling units per acre. The associated development plan also preserves the recommended 50% open space as recommended by Envision Franklin. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 2021-08. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Any public comments? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 8, this is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2021-72, a resolution approving a development plan for Southville PUD subdivision for 8 properties located west of Lewisburg Pike and south of Goose Creek Bypass. Joy?
Thank you. The proposed Southvale PUD subdivision is a development consisting of 244 acres. The plan proposes 512 dwelling units on 333 lots consisting of single-family duplex and multiplex building types with both 3 and 4 dwelling units per building. The plan further breaks down to 196 single-family lots and 136 attached residential lots. This area was formerly part of the Southbrook PUD subdivision that was discussed back in 2019. Envision Franklin places the subject parcels into the conservation design concept. The plan as proposed meets the recommendations and guiding principles of Envision Franklin and the conservation subdivision design concept specifically. The new development is within close proximity to a property that is on the National Register of Historic Places, and the architecture directly across from the property should be particularly sensitive to this local historic resource. With that, staff recommends approval with conditions of Resolution 2021-72. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Does anyone want to speak to this body at the public hearing? Not, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes. Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 9, this is the City of Franklin Contract 2021-0067 Parkland Impact Fee, Payment of Fee Only Agreement for Southville between the City of Franklin and Southville LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 10, this is consideration of City of Franklin Contract 2021-0093, Road Impact Fee Offset Agreement with Southville LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Kind of get to expect that, don't you? Yeah. Is there a second?
Yogi would say, deja vu, all over again.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill. Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 11, this is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2021-82, a resolution to consider initiating the annexation process and draft plan of services for the annexation of property located west of Lewisburg Pike and north of Henpeck. Go ahead, Joey.
Thank you. The property being considered is approximately 1.5 acres in size. It is contiguous to the city limits and is within the city's urban growth boundary. Envision Franklin places this parcel in the neighborhood commercial design concept. The property lies within the Goose Creek Basin as defined in the City of Franklin Sanitary Sewer Basin Study. The draft plan of services that you have available details no major concerns in providing infrastructure and services to the property. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2021-82. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody want to speak to this body on public hearing? Not, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Item 12, this is a public hearing consideration ordinance 2021-14, ordinance to amend the budget of the city of Franklin for FY year 2020 to 2021. Michael Walters Young.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. My name is Michael Walters Young, your Budget and Strategic Innovation Manager. Ordinance 2021-14 is an amendment to finalize the fiscal 21 budget. There are several components to this, but we've tried to simplify it down to 3. The first are what we call budget balancing options. These are respectively to the general fund. It's the single largest one, but there's about 8 other funds involved as well. The general fund is being increased by $4.7 million, both in revenues and expenses. The single largest increase in revenues is the recognition of $3.5 million of additional local option sales taxes, which we did not anticipate at the beginning of this budget year. Quite honestly, we anticipated and built what we would call now in retrospect an austerity budget, believing at the time that we just didn't know what we didn't know. But our sales tax did not diminish, and in fact is actually ahead of where we were at this time last year. And we are responsibly increasing the budget in order to account for that. The other $1.2 million is the recognition of federal aid regarding COVID-19 relief to the city to pay for overtime and PPE and those sorts of things, costs which we expensed in the last 2 fiscal years. Other funds primarily break down as follows. There are various capital transfers coming from road impact and hotel motel and parkland dedication and water and sewer going towards capital projects. The memo details what they are, and I'm happy to go into detail for them, but just know that we're keeping our commitments to make sure that our capital budgets are in line in those projects at the end of the fiscal year. The other is the recognition of nearly $300,000 or slightly over $300,000 in the CDBG funds of a separate pot of federal money, which is dedicated to helping nonprofits and social service agencies in their COVID-19 relief. The other 2 amendments are relatively small. First, we have year-end interfund change-ups or cleanups. This is for debt service. There are small amounts as we trued up and made our final debt service payments, a slight increase in hotel motel and a decrease in the road impact fund, and then approximately $20,000 of cleanup and several million dollars worth of transfers that we make to account for administrative services in the water, sewer, sanitation, and stormwater funds. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the fiscal 21 budget.
Does any of the public want to speak to this body tonight concerning this budget amendment? If not, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion. Thank you, Alderman Blanton. That's a relief. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. No offense, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item 13, which is an ordinance 2021-15. This is a public hearing. It's an ordinance of the City of Franklin, Tennessee, adopting a budget for the FY 2021 to 2022, providing an effective date.
Mr.
Go
Mayor,
ahead,
if I
Mr.
could.
Stuckey.
Yes, I'd like to give you a brief presentation of an overview of the proposed budget that you're going to vote on tonight at second reading. This will cover really the next 4 items in terms of the overall fiscal 22 budget, the proposed property tax rate to be established for the fiscal year, some fee adjustments in a couple specific areas, specifically sanitation, which is residential trash and recycling pickup, and stormwater. So we'll jump in on this, have a few slides to share with you to give you that overview. This was, as Michael referenced in some of the amendments, in a very unusual and challenging year. And back in the fall, we presented to you a framework that we called A Stronger Franklin, recognizing that the magnitude of what has happened in the past year on many levels created the need and a change in everything we faced. You either come out of it stronger or you don't. And we wanted to be a stronger community, a stronger city organization as we move into the new year and move past and beyond the pandemic. So we had 4 Ps that we identified as a focal point. Yes, pandemic response would continue to be important, and we would continue to follow the guidance of medical, public health, and science experts. But that the people of our community and the people of our city team continue to be a primary focus. We are in the people business, as we always say, both in terms of the citizens we serve, but also the way we deliver that service through our city team and our team members. But also to have a focus on a healthy community that also values our diversity and is inclusive of one another. The third P is projects. As a growing community and as one of the faster growing communities in the country, our ability to maintain and build important projects that support quality of life is very important. And we put a lot of focus on our delivery capacity in recent years, and that needs to continue. And then the final P, the fourth P, is around possibilities. And that's about building and maintaining capacity, yes, fiscally, but also as an organization as we strive to meet community needs and the challenges and opportunities of the future. So when you look at the budget, here was our overview and our goals to respond and provide a budget that supported the Stronger Franklin initiatives, and that we would have and maintain high-quality services that the community expects of us, that we would preserve the capacity to respond to future needs and to meet the quality of life expectations of our community, and that finally we are investing in and planning for the future. So in terms of the numbers, let's look at where we are, big picture. All funds budget is proposed at $166.8 million. That's an increase of 1.7% compared to the fiscal 21 budget. And then the general fund budget is at $84.5 million. That's about 9.8% increase. And of course, that incorporates about $4.2 million of one-time money coming from state and federal sources to support COVID recovery. If you dial the calendar back a year ago, we were reducing budgets generally about 10% across the board. So this reflects recovery from that and the focus we have now, knowing more, and as Michael referenced, having a better sense of the economic impact, and that it was not nearly as dire as we feared at one point, but that also our local economy was incredibly resilient. So let's look at some highlights of the proposed budget. It is balanced. It fully complies with your policies related to debt and fund reserves, and we are maintaining essential services and, in fact, in many places, enhancing them. Property tax rates are not increasing, and in fact, due to revaluation, they are decreasing this year because of the new valuations assessed in the every 5-year cycle that the county property assessor goes through. So that will move the property tax rate down 9.15 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. Generally, the idea is that while your rate changes so that your raw dollar amount is roughly the same, so that the change in valuation does not cause an increase in your overall property tax rate. So you see the rate adjusted to accommodate that. One other important note that I shared with the Budget and Finance Committee when we talked about revaluation. The 2021 revaluation identified $64 billion of assessed valuation in Williamson County. The assessed valuation in 2011, just 10 years ago, was $32 billion. So it took us over 200 years to get to $32 billion. It took us 10 years to get the next $32 billion. That gives you a sense of the magnitude of growth and investment that has happened in the past 10 years in Franklin and in Williamson County overall. Let's talk about some other highlights of the proposed budget itself. The general fund itself includes the restoration of 7 positions. A year ago, we removed funding from several positions so that we could weather the economic downturn that we were experiencing. We held a number of positions vacant as well. We restored about 5 positions at mid-year, and we're restoring another 7 here. So we restored, between those 2 actions, about half of those positions that had been held and a budget removed from them a year ago. There are several new positions in the budget. We have, I believe, 7 new positions, and they include the establishment of an urban street crew. That's 4 positions to help maintain trees within our neighborhoods. We also have a trail maintenance position as our trail system expands, a street maintenance position to help expand our capacity to maintain the Mack Hatcher extension, and a senior level emergency management position that will report directly to the city administrator. And as I said, the 7 restored positions are spread across 6 departments. All right, a couple other things to highlight. As we said, one of our highlighted areas is our people. And we went without pay increases in the normal structure last year. And we wanted to look at that, and we were able to look at that again this year and return to the structure we've established in the last several years, which is a base increase of 2.5% for our team members, and then the ability to have an additional performance-based pay increase of up to another 2.5% based on how folks perform, anywhere between 0.5% and 2.5% based on their performance evaluations. We are also proposing a special one-time pay supplement to our team members of $1,000. This is for full-time and permanent part-time folks. This recognizes the essential nature of the work our folks have done and continue to do in serving our community. And then finally, for the second consecutive year, there is no increase in health insurance premiums for our team members. We're able to absorb that overall. We have a creative, innovative approach to our vehicles. We're working with a fleet management partner to provide vehicles on a enhanced cycle that we actually believe will save us money. And that's for what are called consumer vehicles, so sedans, SUVs, and commercial pickup trucks. Within the budget, there are a few rate increases proposed. For the first time in 3 years, we want to bump up the residential trash and recycling rate from $19 a month to $20.50 a month. And then for the first time since it was created, the stormwater utility was created, we're proposing a 5% bump there. That would only equate to about $1.60 to $2.60 per year for residential customers. And that's, again, the first time that has been adjusted since it was established in 2004. And our review of that fund shows that will keep it whole through the next 5 years. And then finally, water and sewer rates are planned at roughly 3%, which is what the existing 5-year rate plan shows. I will note that later this summer, you will see an updated 5-year rate plan to address water and sewer. So that may be subject to some change, but I believe it will be roughly in that general range. So let's look at where the money comes from. This chart shows you that over 53% of our general fund revenue comes from sales tax. That has grown this year, and we have additional sales tax starting to come to the city because the voters approved 3 years ago additional half cent of sales tax. Well, the city took the first 3 years of the revenue the city was entitled to and dedicated it to public education. So those dollars went to Williamson County Schools and a portion to Franklin Special School District. When you look at our revenue source a different way, and you look at consumption, you see nearly 74% of it is based in consumption. Sales tax, the state shared tax, which is largely sales tax from the state coming back to us on a per capita basis. We have liquor by the drink taxes, et cetera, all of which show that we are very driven by consumer activity in our community in terms of the revenue that is generated to support city operations. Just an important recognition that when the economy slows, as it did in the wake of the COVID pandemic, we see it very quickly. Other places that are more based on property tax have the benefit of more stability in a longer period of time before they see economic impacts. So let's look at where dollars are spent, first by function and then by expenditure category. You see nearly half is in the public safety category, and then about 16% in our public works group, and then you see economic and community development at about 11.5%, and our administration and finance functions around 9%. When you look at the categories by the broader expenditure category, you see again, personnel drives it. We are in the people business, as I said, and about 71% of our overall general fund expenditures go to salary and benefits, of our 750 full-time equivalent employees. Then you see operational expenses, supplies, materials, et cetera, around 25%, and then our capital equipment portion at about 4%. So there's a unique function this year. As I mentioned, there's some one-time dollars coming from state and federal sources that do find their way into the general fund budget. These are one-time revenues, so we are aligning them with one-time expenditures. We have about $900,000 coming out of the $100 million of local government assistance that the state of Tennessee has passed. We should see those dollars in July and need to spend them in the next 12 months. Generally, we programmatically identified them to go towards public safety needs, such as police cruiser replacement that we deferred a year ago, and providing an advanced life support upgrade for fire apparatus. We also, a few months ago, the U.S. Congress and the President signed into law the American Recovery Plan. This provides varying amounts to cities and counties across the country. Franklin's identified amount is $9.2 million. And about 2 weeks ago, we received the first 50% of that, $4.6 million. The guidance related to those funds are still coming out and evolving. We've gotten pieces of that. This next slide will show you our general plan based on what we saw in the law early on. But I will caution you that we are still receiving guidance and reading through that guidance. And this is subject to change, both in terms of how we frame it and how we might allocate it. But the general plan was to help, especially our local hospitality and tourism industry, which were among the heaviest hit in the downturn, with additional support to the Convention and Visitors Bureau to promote Franklin as a tourist option. We think that'll help us be competitive and regain that business and help that local element of our economy. We also saw small revenue shortfalls in our street aid. I'm not sure if we'll be able to replace that based on what we're seeing, but that was our general proposal. And again, we talked about helping a portion of that money help us provide a one-time pay supplement to our city team members. And then we'll be looking at this year and the following 2 years, water and sewer upgrade funding, as well as we look at aging infrastructure and how we can replace that throughout the community. Finally, this chart gives you a summary of our performance over the last couple years, and the fact that, again, a year ago, we thought we were going to need to use reserves in the multi-million-dollar range. We ended up not needing to touch any of that. We were able to essentially hold our own in the year with having almost exactly the same amount of revenue as we had expenditures. And that is basically the reflection of two stories. One, revenue did not take as bad a hit as we thought it might, but also our team members did a great job of controlling expenditures and living within their means, so we did not need to tap any reserves. We do think we'll add to our reserves this year through the balance of this year and be in a strong position going forward. The next graphic shows you that same story over the last probably 8 to 9 years, and you see we've been able to add to that reserve in most of those years. We held our own last year, and we'll add some dollars to it as we get into this year. So the following is really a summary of where we are. We've weathered a difficult, challenging, unusual year. I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of our community for weathering it and coming through in a way that I think will make us a stronger Franklin. You look at the high priority projects that we'll continue to support that are needs. You see the traffic barrels, and you see the diversions that we're having to do to make those infrastructure improvements. We know that's frustrating, but we also know the end result will be better infrastructure to add to the quality of life of our community and respond to the needs and demands that growth has placed on us. And then finally, you see our year-end reserves in a strong position, well above your policy, but also giving us the ability to pay for capital projects, high priority capital projects with cash in many cases, and lower the amount of debt that we need to issue. And I'll just close out with a thank you to the board for their support, especially the Budget and Finance Committee members, which sit through many, many hours of budget presentations, January, February, March, and April. We appreciate the time you all put in. I want to thank the folks who lead our budget process, Michael Walters-Young Angelique Franzoni, who put in countless hours helping prepare documents, do upgrades to our modeling so that it reflects the latest, best information, and help keep the process moving. Our department directors and leadership team members, key budget staff within the departments that help put the information together, the assistant city administrators, the human resources department, all of whom help with the decision-making process. And it is my pleasure to present the fiscal '22 budget to you tonight and answer any questions you or the public have.
Okay, this is an opportunity for the public to make comments about the budget. Is there anyone who wants to make a comment about Mr. Stuckey's presentation and the budget? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. We'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 14, consideration ordinance 2021-16, an ordinance City of Franklin, Tennessee, establishing the municipal property tax levy for FY 2021 to 2022.
Move for approval.
This is a public hearing. I'm sorry, I
Sorry.
didn't announce that. And I think Mr. Stuckey covered that rate in his presentation, so is there any public comment on that? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed, and now we'll entertain the motion.
Now
Thank you,
I'll move for
Alderman.
approval. My apologies.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey,
Passes
Mr. Mayor, let me just
unanimously.
mention, back behind that post is this handy-dandy one-pager that tells you where does my money go. It's got a number of the charts we just talked about and this great dollar bill that's divided up between the service categories in the city of Franklin. So if you'd like that on your way out, it's a nice, quick read to give you an overview of what I just talked about, too.
Item 15, this is a public hearing, consideration ordinance 2021-17, an ordinance of the City of Franklin, Tennessee to amend Appendix A, Comprehensive Fees and Penalties, Chapter 17, Refuse and Trash Disposal of the City of Franklin Municipal Code to increase the fees for collection of garbage and refuse. This is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to this body on this item? And I think Mr. Stuckey indicated in his presentation, there's $1.50 increase in that collection fee. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 15, I'm sorry, that was 15. Item
16.
16, this is a public hearing, consideration ordinance 2021-18, an ordinance of the City of Franklin, Tennessee to amend Appendix A, Comprehensive Fees and Penalties, Chapter 23, Stormwater Management of the Franklin Municipal Code to increase the equivalent residential unit rate. And again, Mr. Stuckey covered that in his presentation. Is there any comments from the public on this? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Who's that?
Me.
Oh, Alderman Blanton. Thank you. Didn't recognize it. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 17, this is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2021-94, resolution of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for the City of Franklin adopting the estimate of revenues and expenditures for the water and sanitary sewer utility fund for FY 2021-22, providing an effective date. And again, Mr. Stuckey covered this in his presentation. Does anybody in the public want to make any comments in this regard? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second? Alderman Schroer, thank you. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. And item 18, not a public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2021-07, an ordinance to amend chapter 23 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Franklin to redefine substantial damage and the substantial improvement related to cumulative time frame and market value.
You
You want to make, it's not a public hearing, you're welcome to make comments, Shannon.
This is just a recap of what we've been discussing, to change the cumulative time frame from 10 years down to 5 and allow for independent appraisals for determining market value of a structure.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Thank you.
Second. I have a
Alderman
question.
Blanton, and
Question.
I've got Alderman Blanton, and I'll recognize Alderman Martin.
Are we discussing this?
can.
Yes, we're ready to discuss after Alderman Blanton.
Go on.
Just a quick question. I had somebody ask me, and I think I know the answer, why this doesn't go into effect immediately. Instead of January, I just basically said it's just government. It takes a while to change the way things are written and update.
Well, as you
So
know.
I could be wrong, but I'd like you to
Well,
address that.
we try to keep the amendments on a yearly cycle so
Yes.
that it's easier to track the
Yes.
changes. So that is the,
So my answer was kind of right.
yes.
Government.
It's just government.
Okay, good, thank you.
Alderman Martin.
Is this keeping the time frame at 5 years instead of 10 years?
This would be changing it from the 10 years that it's approved at right now to 5 years. Planning Commission voted to change that portion of the ordinance.
Yes.
They wanted to keep it at 10 years, but we're proposing that it remain at, as
And
it was
that- and that-
originally written.
And that's what this says?
Yes, this would be
Yes.
changing it to 5 years.
Everybody clear on what we're voting on? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 19, consideration of amendment to the City of Franklin contract number 2016-0267, a local agency project agreement with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for the State Route 96 West Multi-Use Trail Phases 1 and 2 for a time extension of 1 year. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. So second, any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 20, this is a resolution 2021-101, a resolution to award the term contract for concrete work, City of Franklin contract number 2021-0071 to May Construction Company, Inc. Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 21, consideration to grant sewer availability for 1115 Holly Hill Drive. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Alderman Blanton was the motion, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion?
Mayor, so the staff recommends to deny, but the applicant still has the option, I guess, of doing that low-pressure system. Is that correct? That's what I was.
This is for
Let's-
the one house instead of the whole hassle.
Okay.
But your motion is to grant that to the
Yes.
one
To the one
Okay.
house.
residence, yeah.
Okay.
Just to be clear, you know what you're voting on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is everybody clear
Yep.
on what we're voting on? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next is nomination of Eric Stuckey to the Countywide Growth Plan Coordinating Committee. And it's my understanding that he would be representing the largest utility in the county, which is the city of Franklin. So I'd entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I now need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill, for the second. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We are now in executive session.
our attorney to appeal or ask permission to appeal to the Supreme Court the Clark versus City of Franklin case.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Now, any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Is there a-
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Alderman Blanton, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Not discussable. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McGlindan.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
We are adjourned.